back with us because we're going to try to stay on this show longer than Luke Walton made it into the Lakers-Kings game last night. Yep, Walton ejected just 8 minutes into the festivities. Take a look.
4-3. Did you see the non-call? We got a technical on Luke Walton, and he is close to being tossed. They got to get him out of the official's way here. He might get tossed. DeMarcus wrapped up Julius, and then he's out. He's gone.
Luke Walton, a lot of opinions on the referee's mother there. And by the way, I love how he takes off his jacket, right, as he leaves the court. How awesome is that? Now, here's why Walton was upset. Boogie Cousins tangles up Julius Randle, doesn't get called for it. It's not that, I mean...
Yeah, well, when you're on a 7-game losing streak.
Right? These things get you upset. These two players, they also went at it the last time these teams met. So Randle said the fact that Walton stood up for him this time meant a tremendous amount to him. Of course, it didn't mean enough that the Lakers actually won this basketball game. In fact, they got outscored 39-13 in the third quarter. 39-13. I mean, that is hard to do against anyone. It is really hard to do against the Kings. Sacramento even trolled LA on Twitter last night. Yeah, that's not harsh or anything. And afterward, Walton said, quote, "I felt like for the first time this season, we gave in. We gave up, which is disheartening because our group has been very resilient all year long." Look, this was the Lakers' 7th straight loss, which wouldn't be surprising for last year's Lakers, who only won 17 games total. But it is surprising for this year's Lakers, who showed us in the first month of the season how good they really could be. Heck, at one point, D'Angelo Russell and Nick Young were even talking about how they could be a playoff team. We started to expect more from them. They started to expect more from themselves, which in turn feels like that might be the problem. When things started to fall apart, instead of treating it like an inevitable bump in the road for a young team, some of the Lakers have been acting like the sky is falling. They've been disconnected, easily frustrated, or, as we saw last night, sometimes just giving up entirely. Now, do I think Luke Walton can fix this? Yeah, the Lakers are on a road trip at the perfect time. Being forced to be together, to face each other, that's the best medicine for a losing streak. But it is something that needs fixing. Part of being a young team is learning how to handle losing so it doesn't snowball. And the Lakers clearly aren't there yet. Guys, I mean, what do you think? Tracy, are the Lakers who we thought they were at the beginning of this season, or are they who you thought they were all along?
No, this, I think, what happened was D'Angelo Russell went out. In the beginning of the season, you had your whole team. They were healthy. You found some chemistry within your group. D'Angelo Russell missed a significant amount of time, and you kind of lost that. Like, you didn't have that rhythm. You had to replace him with other guys, and that same rhythm and the chemistry was just broken. Now, they lost a lot of steam here lately. They got to find some way to get that back because I still believe they are that team that can be exciting, be in games, and compete every night. They don't have that right now. Again, we don't want that to have a snowball effect of what's going on right now.
You hit it on the head. You know, you said they're a young team. They're learning to lose. They're learning to deal with adversity. That's all normal. Like, the 10-10 start brainwashed everyone into thinking it's a playoff team. They're way ahead of schedule. Like, they hit a bump in the road.
Down.
They had a couple injuries. Like, they were horrible on defense then. They're horrible on defense now. Let's all just relax. The Lakers are going to be fine. Julius Randle's in a little slump. He'll uptick. You know, the free agent signings haven't really worked out. That's a bigger issue. But, like, they're fine. They're fine. They're a young team finding their way.
It might help if their coach could stay in the game a little bit longer. I think Luke, even though he was glad he made the point, he might agree with that. But it wasn't just him with the text. Los Angeles actually picked up 6 texts total last night, which leads to our favorite soap opera. As the Kings turn.
Oh, Boogie.
It's a daily show. It's a daily show.
I don't make it a daily show. The Sacramento Kings make it a daily show because Boogie Cousins also picked up a tech of his own. This was for trash talking Brian Shaw in front of one of the officials. And look, afterward, Boogie said he thought it was an overreaction. A little soap opera, maybe overreaction from the officials there. He did get an attack. He thinks that he is getting unfairly targeted. Quote, "It's been a while since I've just went up to a ref and cursed him out," which apparently he thinks, "Hey, Boogie, so I really don't know what to do. I see how some guys talk to the refs and it's okay. And then there's me. It just depends on their mood." So Tracy, this latest episode of As Sacramento Turns, how do you feel?
Well, how I feel is this is Boogie's history catching up to him. You know, how he's treated refs in the past, showing them up. They never forget that. So when the event occurs like it did last night, it's always going to catch up to you. Boogie caused a lot of this on himself. Now, he seems like he's learning from it. You know, he said he went up to a ref and cursed.
Actually, cursed at them. You told me a little award for that,
Hey, he's learning.
Brownie, cupcake.
Yeah. Are there any other plot elements in this soap opera, or is it just the same one over and over again?
Now let's stay in the same game because
I got a bunch of them.
The call that was on Randall, Boogie should have been called for a foul on that. Let's just be honest, and they let him get away with that.
Yeah. I mean, look, I do have to point out this was his 9th tech of the season. That puts him on pace for 28 techs this season.
Go for 30.
We know, of course, she got many more than that back in the day, but back then there wasn't the penalty the league has now. Now, once you hit 16, you get suspended, and then you start getting suspended for every other tech after that. So if he actually did stay on pace, this 28 tech a season pace, you're talking about one of the teams in the NBA losing its inarguably best player for so many games. That can't happen. It can't continue this way. Something's got to give.
It's not going to continue that way. He'll get up to 14, 15, and then he'll calm down a little bit, and he'll say, look, I can do it. See, I can do it. And we'll have this. And then we'll have the same plot element again on as Sacramento turns or whatever.
Exactly. Bring the music back. No, just kidding. All right, well, there may be more refs on the court to give Boogie those techs. You haven't factor that into your equation, Zach Lowe. The NBA is going to experiment in that direction, starting in the D League, where a handful of games will feature 4- and 5-person crews instead of the usual 3. The league says this is in an effort to, quote, collect data on how this would work.
Come on, man. What's next, yo? This is. Please tell me you're not riding with me.
Look, I'm fine. It's the D League. Try anything. Try 12-foot hoops. Try 6-on-6. I don't care.
D League, I don't care. You can implement 4-pointers and 5-pointers in the D League.
40-minute games.
Don't bring this into our game. The court is already crowded with 3 refs and the 10 players out there. Come on, man.
There's some feeling that things would get called more correctly, and that way players would.
What the hell we got instant replay for?
Well, but here's the thing. I agree with you. I don't know where these guys are going to stand. They're going to have different alignments. It's going to get crowded. But you can't, the instant replay, like all that stuff is next day stuff, like the flopping fines. Oh, next day, the technical that's upgraded to a flagrant 2, whatever, that's next day. They need in-game stuff, in-game penalties, instant penalties.
I don't know what the numbers are, whether calls from officials are up or down this year. I will only say that from a feel eye test point, when you watch games, it feels like a lot of games are getting interrupted, that there isn't as much flow as you would like them to be. It is difficult to think of when adding another official is somehow going to improve that. But, you know, you do want accuracy.
Over-officiating.
So I don't know. Doc, I was at the Clippers game. You were at the Clippers game last night. You remember Doc Rivers said prior to the game, someone asked him about this. He goes, I liked it better when there were only 2 officials. I got away with a lot more. So I think some guys would like to see us move back in that direction.
I agree.
All right, let's move on to a game that's coming up tonight. Timberwolves Bulls, and you can see that right here on ESPN. It's got juice, baby. This is Coach Tom Thibodeau's return to face the team that fired him. But it's not exactly going to be a triumphant stroll through the doors now, is it? Despite having a roster stacked with young talent, Karl-Anthony Towns, Andrew Wiggins, the Wolves are on a 3-team tie for the worst record in the league at 6-18. And Zach, look, when the beginning they were having trouble at the start of the season, we were all like, hey, it takes time to gel, and they're young. Is there a point where past the quarter mark they are underachieving?
We're past it.
Tibbs has to take some responsibility.
I think they're underachieving, right? But the expectations were wildly out of control. Their 3 top minutes guys are 21 years old. Like, you just don't win in the NBA with teams like this. Their bench stinks. We all knew their bench would stink. I will say, though, I do think it's disappointing. Like, Karl-Anthony Towns has not been any strides on defense. He might have even slid back.
Like, he has a coach that's supposed to be an expert in that. Is it the coach's responsibility to connect more?
It is the coach's responsibility, because when Tibbs was in Chicago, that was the Bulls' identity. They were a tough defensive team. Now he has the personnel to be that type of team with these guys. The message is just not getting through with them. For whatever reason, something has to change. The message has to change. The philosophy has to change, because it's not getting through to these guys.
Brian Windhorst was saying that he's been hearing that now the Wolves are looking for more front court help. Have you been hearing that they're talking about roster adjustments, or that they just have to basically get it together within?
I mean, they signed a bunch of front court players. Some of them don't even play. Like, Jordan Hill doesn't play. Cole Aldridge sometimes doesn't play. Like, they have all these big guys. I think they're going to look at point guard.
You know what's missing?
That's the long-term.
You know what's missing?
Look at point guard.
KG. A true veteran, a voice, not his game. I'm saying a voice to be on the bench, to be in the locker room with these guys, They're all 21, 22 years old.
I agree with that.
Well,
they do say they missed that.
That is sort of gets to the issue with Tibbs, right? We all know he is a great coach. Nobody is saying, "Oh gosh, they're not doing well with one of the best coaches in the NBA. Wouldn't want to hire one of those." It's more about, look, you're talking about a pretty significant age gap, generation gap, right? With a young team. One of the reasons we thought the Lakers got off to such a good start was because Luke Walton could relate to these guys in a way. I mean, Steve Kerr even thinks young and relates to his guys in sort of a younger way and a new generation kind of coach way. If they had that intermediary in KG, you can see the Tibbs method working if there was sort of a middleman there a little bit more.
You need that. You need his voice. You don't need to just hear your coach's voice because that message might not be getting through to the guys. So whereas a KG can be in there around these guys and they respect his voice more than they will the coach. I mean, it's crazy to say, but it is.
Well, to quote Rick Pitino and by proxy, Amin Al-Hassan, KG is not walking through that door anytime soon, so we'll see what happens. Jay-Z, a little jab at Phil Jackson there.
Yeah, that was a little right hook
that
right
was better
there.
than a jab. Yeah,
That's good. He did have to read it.
Only one
do
thing.
people not write speeches anymore on paper? Like, this is what we do now?
Love the speech.
Phone?
One thing, though. Jay-Z's my favorite rapper.
Yeah.
But he goes in the booth and doesn't write anything down. Everything comes off the top of his head. So I was surprised that he used the phone to deliver that speech.
Well, they have teleprompters too, or as Zach notes, paper, which is exciting.
I don't know, Jay.
Whatever, but you know,
might have told on yourself.
He is the best, and you know, he had a good speech for LeBron, and I like the tweak. I thought that was pretty good. All right, let's turn our attention to the biggest surprise in the NBA: the Memphis Grizzlies. Y'all have heard me talking about them on this show for weeks now. The Grizzlies are 6-1 since losing Mike Conley to a back injury. Marc Gasol just named Western Conference Player of the Week, and let's give it up, new coach David Fizdale. Tremendous job. Young makeshift lineup that beat the Warriors by 21 points. I mean, look, guys, 17-8. Memphis, they're not winning the title here, but they are 5th place in the West. How are they winning like this when we're looking at teams we expected to do better, and they're not matching up with this depleted roster?
Makeshift lineup is generous. I don't know what, like, they do, but this is crazy. They do this every year. They're 13-1. In games that have been within 3 points in the last 3 minutes. That's like so much better than anyone else. It's crazy. And this is like 3 coaches, 5 or 6 years. They win every close game every year.
I got to give it up to Fizz because he's, with Mike Conley being out of this lineup, I mean, he's putting guys in a position to excel and they're playing great basketball. They're a physical team. Yeah. And I got to give a shout out to my fossil cousin. He's still holding on.
Oh, cousin. That would be a good starter, people.
Every once in a while, he revs it up. Every once in a while.
He's looking good this year.
That's good. Who, by the way, older than you, still playing. Just
you got to come back to that. Vince, you got some big support over here, bro.
Right. See, I got to rep for him. He's not here to defend himself.
Man.
So come on. I do want to talk about your old team, though, Tracy. Orlando. The Magic haven't made the playoffs since 2012. The team holds the 2nd worst record in the league over that span. Behind only, yes, the Sixers, who purposely tanked all those seasons away. But hey, have no fear, Magic fans. CEO Alex Martins has some good news for you. I mean, sort of. He told the Orlando Sentinel, quote, "I certainly believe by 2030, you're reading that right, we will have won at least one championship. And I say at least, I firmly believe we're going to get there. And once you get there, you got the kind of team that hopefully can come back." So,
shout out to
2030, eh? We're like going out on a limb with that one.
Take over, Zach.
What is the point of this? 35-year-old Mario Hezonja is going to lead you to the 2030 championship? Like, what is the point of saying this? Any team could say this.
Aaron Gordon by 2030 might, develop a jumper. I mean,
Wow.
I mean, no, I'm just saying. I mean, he's a great dunker.
Yes.
I need him to shoot the ball.
Maybe
by 2030, he has a lot of time to improve.
Man.
Look, man, if I'm a player on this team, I have high hopes that we're going to win a championship in the next.
No, he said at least. He won. Look, they haven't won one. Winning one championship is hard. How about drop the at least?
Okay, but we criticize. I'm gonna try to play devil's advocate here. We criticize when people talk up their team too much, right? Especially,
damn,
Golden State. There was like a little criticism for being over ambitious.
20 at least? 5 year span? I mean,
I tried. I did everything I could.
20, 30? So we just coming into training camp. I mean, our expectations the next 5 years, we ain't going to be crap. we ain't competing for nothing.
In all seriousness, how far away do you think the Magic are from being competitive for playoff position?
Eastern, to get the 8th seed in the Eastern Conference?
Yeah.
I mean, they could get it this year. Who cares?
Okay.
I mean, to get the 8th seed
What,
is like
just go get beat up by Cleveland?
just to make the
Doesn't matter.
playoffs?
Yeah, make the
It's
playoffs.
easy.
If
Damn,
you were a
East.
fan in Orlando, that would be nice.
it'd be great. That's what they want to do.
Right? Frank Vogel's a good
I mean,
coach.
yeah,
Not far.
but that roster, man, I actually think I could make that roster.
But he did not say, I think we could get a couple of playoff
bring me
appearances
back.
by 2030. He said a couple of titles.
I can give you like 15 minutes. And in today's game, I would give you like 10 points.
See? And he means it. You would need to pay him.
What if
however.
they sent you to the D League like Azonia?
The hell?
They have 5
man.
officials there
Yeah.
now, so you'd be all good.
I'll be like Boogie. I'll have so many times.
All right, gotta take a quick break, but first, here's our distant replay from this date in 2001.
Oh, we got a Darius Miles sighting. Are you kidding me?
Bump the forehead.
Y'all was deep in the video book.
Radmanovic, who didn't see
Miles
this
is probably
pool out
like
in Yugoslavia.
330 right now, like 340.
Ouch. Ouch.